I know I joke a lot, but when I say this case has enough to be a RICO case, I'm not even making it up. I'm not even joking, guys. I'm very, very serious. I need a prosecutor somewhere to stand up and make this a RICO case. The plotting and the planning and the scheming that went into this, it's not surface level jokes. This is serious business. Grab a snack, meet me on the other side, and let's review some of these things. F around and find out. Hello there, beautiful people, and welcome back to a brand new episode of F Around and Find Out. I'm your host, Elsie. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please make sure you do before you leave this video and continue to leave comments. I like reading you guys' comments. I like responding back to you guys every chance I get, so thank you for the support. I know I keep joking sometimes, and we have a kiki and we have a laugh, and I'm cracking jokes and I'm making funny analogies, but I'm not joking when I say this case has potential to be a RICO case. Because why isn't it? The plotting and the planning and the scheming that went is maddening. The amount of times Blake Lively is telling people what to do, telling people what to think. It's a gang. They are in a gang. They are in the mafia, as Blake Lively will call it. But let's see the criteria for a RICO case and see if this matches. Very quickly, the Googler tells us, a RICO case involves the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, a powerful U.S. law targeting criminal enterprises by prosecuting individuals for engaging in a pattern of racketeering activities, meaning two or more specific crimes like fraud, bribery, drug dealing. The only thing Blake Lively and her people will get away with is the drugs. Even that, I'm not even sure. Like, can we say that we're not doing drugs? Because some of these things that we're doing is very, very drug activity. If you're not on drugs, there's no way you think some of these things you're doing is normal. But I digress. Crimes like fraud, bribery, drug dealing within a decade that are linked to an ongoing organization such as the mafia, street gangs, and even legitimate business. These cases carry severe penalties, including long prison sentences, hefty fine, and asset forfeiture, and allow for both criminal prosecution and civil lawsuits seeking treble damages. Is it absolutely possible that I'm exaggerating a little bit? Yes. Yes, 100%. Is this an organization? I'm calling it Blake Inc., right? I think Blake is still the head of the snake, Blake and Ryan. They haven't been in business for a decade or whatever, but if you could account 2020 till now, they're in it right now. It's still happening. Some of the text messages Blake Lively is sending her co-stars, her friends, and telling them what to do, what to think is scary to me. And these people all seem to not have a lick of a backbone to their name. Why don't we start with Brandon Sklenar and Blake Lively's correspondence? It's about 7 pages of this text message, but she says a lot of things in here that are proven wrong, but are also very interesting for a person to say to their friend and co-star about their director. She starts off, hey, Brandon Sklenar starts off on May 24th, 2024. Hey, so sorry for the delay. He sends a link and sends another link. She loves an audio message from Blake Lively. Brandon Sklenar says, no problem at all. Thanks for getting that in there. I deeply loathe shitty, obvious ADR lines, like recording stuff in the booth after you've done it in a movie. I'm meant to be doing some ADR at the studio in Santa Barbara in a few weeks. Blake Lively says, yeah, TBD on that. Brandon Sklenar likes that. He says, I thought so. Blake sends like a mouth zip emoji. Blake says, Brandon Sklenar says, thank you. Blake says, you'll be busy in Dallas instead. Blake says, again, I'm becoming pimp adjacent. Blake says, put on a short little skirt and get on the corner, Sklenar. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting choices of words here. I wonder if Justin makes a joke like this, if that's not in this litigation, right? She says, because I'm not selling this movie on him. Now they're talking about Justin for sure. Brandon Sklenar sends this emoji, GIF, I believe. Blake Lively responds back, he's really good in it. I made sure of it. You made sure he's good in the movie, or he's just a good actor and he directed himself? He's really good in it. I made sure of it, but he's the abuser. And it shouldn't be centered on him, regardless of the process. She says, I hope your show gives you space to hustle, especially once it comes out. Week 2 will be a time that it will especially be heated for you. Just something to think about and maximize. Blake sends a GIF, actual footage of me texting right now. I guess it's a pimp on a treadmill. I don't know if that's Cat Williams. Brandon Sklenar likes that and then loves the image and then loves whatever Blake says. I hope your show gives you whatever. Brandon Sklenar messages back, I'm working on it. They're particularly shitty about that. But I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen. It would be a crime not to ride that momentum. Blake says it would be. Get Warren on that, Blake says. Blake writes again, it's what they do. Brandon Sklenar says on it. Bank some beforehand, and maybe there's something you can do in Austin too. It doesn't really matter. The impact will be evergreen. But as someone whose show kept me from every opportunity outside of it, Gossip Girl, I look back now and see how shitty that was, how I could have, along with my team, pushed harder to make space for a few moments I needed during production to honor the work I did outside of it. So full of herself. She really thinks she's the main character. I can't get over it. They feel like you owe them. She's talking about showrunners, producers, and everything. They feel like you owe them. They tend to attempt to dim your light so you don't outgrow them. And it has the opposite effect that they intend. It makes you resent them and want to get out. Brendan Sklenar says, thankfully, we only have 8 episodes left. It was only meant to be the 8th, and they added 7 more as soon as we started the first 8. He says, no more shows after this. That's for damn sure. You know what? And I hope that for you. I pray that for you. I pray you don't get another job. The power of the tongue is really working in this case. Blake says, if you're going back to LA, you can ride with me and my baby boy. Blake says, I have Father's Day in LA with Art and the kids, so we'll leave early Sunday. And because Justin speaks to my dead father often, maybe he can help let him know that I'm in LA for Father's Day. Brendan Sklenar laughs at that. Perfect. What time are you thinking on Sunday? Blake says, I don't know, early, like 7, 8, depending on the flight time to LA. It will be quicker because private. Screening isn't until 10 p.m. on Saturday night, and I'm just going to sit through. You should see it then and not watch it before. Brendan Sklenar says, I will. That's perfect. I can do that. 7/8 is great. Safe to assume. Brendan says, safe to assume it will be your cut. But Justin is emailing today saying he took some things from my cut, so I felt acknowledged and can move forward, and he's locking his cut. He's locking in his cut before the bake-off. Please remember that part. I'm going to get to it. Brendan Sklenar says, wow. Blake says he's batshit crazy. He wasn't authorized to watch my cut yet. He is the director of the movie. He is the producer. He is the co-star. He owns the production company. You're the actor, not the director, not the editor, none of that. Your job is not to keep the director out of the edit bay because you want to. Absolutely ridiculous. But he went into Avid to watch and then took things from it. Remember that. Brendan Sklenar says, well, it will still be yours in the end. He said, Blake says, it won't be a Frankenstein's cut. It will be his or mine in their entirety. Thank God it will be yours. From Brandon. Can't believe he did that. He says, I mean, I can. He's definitely scrambling. Brandon, really? He's fucking himself for future work? Blake says, oh, you don't know the first of it. This is where it gets crazy. Blake Lively really thought she was making Justin's career. This is how batshit crazy she is. She says, yeah, the crazy thing is I would have continued to let him take credit for everything. Let him take credit. He literally birthed this movie. You get that? Yeah. But you would let him take credit? I know Blake is going to love that birth part. He would have been handed a career. Handed a career? What are we doing here? He would have been fucked on his next job, but at least he would have been a big success. I'm sorry, were you already plotting and planning to show up at his next job and fuck that up for him? Or you're already going to plant seeds to fuck up his next job? Interesting. But at least he would have been a big success. He'll still hit, but the word is out. And I've been protecting it from getting out because all I wanted to do is focus on the work and not being pulled in the fucking mess they make. Pot, kettle, pot, kettle, kettle, pot, pot, kettle, pot. Are you having an identity crisis? That's you. You're making the mess. But they wreak havoc everywhere they go, and everyone sees it. Then they come to me. Oh, the Messiah, Mother Teresa. Everybody's coming to Blake to save them. Are you shitting me? Now, this is where Blake is starting to plant seeds in Brendan Sklenar's mind. He said something hushed to you on a set at Rue, but I didn't hear the rest of it. He said, oh man, I have something to tell you, but I'll probably get canceled for saying it. You can't say anything on this set anymore. Now, before Blake Lively sends that text, she and Brandon are like 313 response, 315, 317, 318, 319, back-to-back response. She sends that message to Brandon at 3:19 p.m., and Brandon doesn't respond until 3:35. There's a big gap there, a good enough chunk to be like, he's thinking about, what the hell are you talking about? I do vaguely remember that. I don't remember if he told me. Then Blake responds right away, like within a minute. Shouldn't you be watching the 4 kids? She responds right away. He's always trying to rope everyone into his messiness. Again, hi, kettle, meet pot. Hey, pot, meet kettle. That's you. You're literally the one roping everybody, their mama, their cousin, their nieces, their nephews, their step nieces into your mess. That's all you, babe. That's you. I'm just so baffled. Brennan says, I'm just so baffled by his lack of foresight, especially given his TED Talks and podcasts and books. That's almost 2 hours later. Blake Lively responds within a minute. I mean, they all make perfect sense. He's running from something gnarly and hiding in all of that. Brennan responds an hour later. It does make perfect sense. Some Tom Ridley shit. Remember the part where Blake Lively tells Brandon Justin took from her edit, right? Let me show you something. This is when they're going back and forth with the edit bay. Justin is not allowed. Blake goes in. She doesn't want to come out. And they hear on June 5th, we hear from Justin, from one of the editors, and they message Justin. Baldoni's editors informed Baldoni that they had heard from a secret source that Lively was incorporating a bunch of Baldoni's versions back into the film ahead of the second official audience test screening for Lively's cut on June 6, 2024. Holy cow, feel better. We didn't want to bug you during all of this, but our secret source has let us know that the new version they're previewing tomorrow has a bunch of our version put back in. We just have to keep it quiet because we want to keep our back channel open. Feel better, get well soon. We love you, and all of this craziness, health and movie is gonna work out, damn it. And Justin responds back, appreciate you both so much. You told Brandon he was taking your cut, but babes, you were stealing his cut, per the sources. It's also very funny because you tell everybody that will listen, from Sony to everybody, that Colleen is backing your edit and Colleen wants your edit. But let's take a look right here. They asked Colleen in her deposition, okay, so going back to the dinner on May 6th, what do you recall to the best of your memory? Who said what about the edit then? Colleen says, about the edit, Blake Lively getting her own cut, I believe Justin was the one who told me that it's possible the movie could change from what I saw because Blake was getting an edit and was going to have a test screening in what they call a bake-off, which is where they see each other one test better. Did Baldoni explain to you what was the case? Did Baldoni explain to you why it was the case that there would be a bake-off, or his view at least? Yeah, he said that. I'm trying to remember. I don't know what it is. It was pertaining to the bake-off. I know he said that Blake was demanding her own edit and that Sony was allowing her the opportunity to edit the film because she was unhappy with his cut. They asked Colleen, did he tell you that Miss Lively was unhappy with his cut? She says he insinuated that it was more, or his opinion, that she wanted to take over the film. At this point, Colleen is not saying, yeah, I talked with Blake and I want a new cut. But Blake keeps telling everybody who will listen, Colleen said she wants my cut. Colleen doesn't agree with Justin's cut. She wants my cut. Now, at a later time, I'm going to sit with Carol and possibly Bachi, and we're going to read all these depositions for you. But I thought this tidbit was freaking amazing, and why I think this should be a RICO case also. They asked Colleen here, before the premiere of the film on August the 6th, you said you unfollowed Justin. She says, uh-huh. They said, and why did you do that? She said, Blake asked me to. Blake asked her to. The leader of the gang, the mafia, she asked her to. They say on May 16th, 2024, when you called and spoke with Blake, or Blake called you, did you tell Blake that you hated Justin? She says, I don't remember this phone call and I don't remember what you're talking about. I'm sure you don't, Colleen. I'm sure you don't. Ezra Hudson objects. Colleen says, it doesn't seem like a verbiage I would use, no. Because you don't like conflict, right? They ask. And it cuts us off. But at the very least, for everybody who was like, they were unfollowing him because they didn't like him, no. Blake thought this is high school. Blake thought we're in high school playing a game. I put it to you that Brandon, maybe Colleen is a writer, so maybe she had time, but I guarantee you, when Brandon came out and told us, for the love of God, please read the article, please read the New York Times, I guarantee you Brandon Sklenar has never read a line in that freaking article, other than the headline. I don't think Brandon Sklenar has sat down and read that article or read that complaint to even know what it says. I very, very highly doubt that. But for the love of God, read the article. Like, really? Really, that's what we're doing? At your big ages, at your grown ages, you guys are continuously like capitulating to this woman. Oh my God, what does Blake need? What does Blake want? Oh my God, let's lie down. Blake, oh my God, I offended you. I'm so sorry. The way Jenny Slate was apologizing, like I told you guys in the last video, For something she said, first of all, doesn't require an apology. You're grown people. You made a comment, you move on. It's crazy. What are you afraid of? It's the power. You know the power she wields. You know what she's been able to do to Justin. You can't afford for that to happen to you. And I get that. But when you can stand by and watch this woman and her husband try to destroy this man for something he didn't do, if you want to say you're uncomfortable, he made you feel uncomfortable, whatever, I'll give it to you. Have that. But SH has never, ever, ever, ever been in the room with us. Sexual harassment has never been in the room when we're looking for it. We can't find it. Hootie hoo, can't find it. Not here. Not around here, partner. This is gang-like activities. Gang-like activities that Blake Lively and her husband orchestrated. And we're all sitting back and watching it like it's a key. No. It's not a kiki. It's not funny. It's scary what they tried to do against this man with the power they had. Taylor Swift messaging, oh my God, you won. A cancellation has never been reversed. They never expected this. They didn't know content creators will come out the wazoo. They thought it was done for. And bam, biggest Uno reverse nobody ever saw coming. I'll leave you with that. There is more. Like, if I'm telling you guys, I don't want to make hour-long videos because there's so much to consume in this case. I'm going to try to bring it to you as the days go by. But the mess that's on this docket, it's not, it would never end. How about that? It would never end. And I know Justin Baldoni is looking around like, should I have ever touched this book or this movie? But like I always say, it had to be him. It had to be him. He was the perfect person for this to happen to. If this happens to any other director in Hollywood, I don't know that we care this much, right? If anybody else in Hollywood, without his resume, without his track record, something like this happens to, and there are holes anywhere in the person's lifetime work that can be poked in, Blake Lively wins this easily, goes away. But this is what I guess it means when you do the right thing when nobody's watching, right? So when people are watching, even when somebody's trying to throw mud on your name, drag you through the mud, you have something to stand on. You have a leg to stand on. And that's what's happening right now. So I'll always appreciate, the universe for balancing itself in this way. I appreciate you guys as well for being here. So please make sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, type the video. It goes a long way. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.